Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So calling on everyone to perform a major austerity for the next 1 hour. Please put your cell phones off if you haven't already done so. And this is going to be really tough for you. That's all for now, for the next hour. If you can manage to do it in a way that... No, just don't do it. That's best. Sulabhah. What does Sulabhah mean? Rarely obtained? No. Easily obtained. So which name is suitable for Krishna? Durlabha or Sulabhah? Both. Very good. Both are names in Vishnu Sahasranama. I've covered Durlabha, and today, name 821, Sulabhah. Tasyaham Sulabhah Parata. We'll get to that. The word, it's a word. It's an adjective, but here it's a noun in the proper noun, the name of Lord Vishnu. So it's very easy to understand for those who understand any Indian language, including Tamil. Do you say Sulabh in Tamil? I don't. You say it in Tamil also? In Sulabham. That Sanskrit contamination enters Tamil. So it's very easy to understand. Su means easy or happy. And labha from the word labha, to get. So easy to get. In commenting on the name Durlabha, it means hard to get. So both things are true, because everything's possible for Krishna. I gave the example of hard to get. Sometimes we say that girl's hard to get. So Krishna's hard to get, but he's easy to get if you know the way. If you know the way to get him. Even if you don't know the way to get him, well, let's discuss it. In the Vishishtadvaita, or the school, or the Sri Sampradaya, following Ramanujacharya, this is among the unlimited qualities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is described as Ananta Kalyana Guna Vishishta. He's characterized by, and the specialty of him, which is of him only, and of Lakshmi, but she's also inseparable from him, is that he has unlimited qualities which are all beneficial. They're all good qualities. So among them all, in the Sri Vaishnava Sampradaya, they recognize his solabhyam, the fact that he is sulabh, easy to attain, as one of the most important qualities, and the other one being his saushilyam, which covers all the other qualities put together. All that means his good character, sushil. Parashara Bhatta is the first commentator in Sri Vaishnava Sampradaya and Vishnu Sahasranama. His comment in regard to this name is Anarghopi mulya bhashena svikartam sakya sulabha. He's priceless. How much is he worth? How much is he worth? How much is Krishna worth? Can anyone say? Anyone? 1 tulsi leaf. You know the story? They have the Sulabhah, they're measuring and put gold, silver, jewels, and Krishna sitting there, and 1 tulsi leaf, and comes down. Well, that signifies that he's purchased by devotion, because tulsi is the very symbol of devotion. But in this, he's priceless, Parashara Bhatta says, but he can be easily attained for a small price. And we have in the Nectar of Devotion, the Srila Prabhupada uses those words, there's just a small price to pay to get Krishna, to cry for Krishna. If one can cry from the heart for Krishna, then he will attain him. We also know from Rupa Goswami, what is that? Krishna Bhakti, what is it? Krishna Bhakti Rasa Bhavitamati Kriyatam Yadi Katopi Labhyate Tatra Lolyam Api Mulyam Ekalam Janma Koti Sukritaya Nalabhyate. Here we have Sulabh and Nalabha. You won't get him by any other means except an intense desire to attain him. That's the only price. Or by crying, but not crying by putting some chili powder under your eyes and things like that. There are various tricks that these sahajiyas know to make a show. Parasha Bhatta gives the example of Kubja. She offered some sandal paste to Krishna and got him to visit her house. She was very eager to get him. Her motivation is not on the level of the gopis, but she got him nevertheless. Come to my house, she said. Vastre pragrihya govindam mamageham vrajeti vai. Grabbing his cloth. He was on the public street. It was embarrassing for Krishna in front of his friends. Come. He said, I just got a few things to deal with first. Killing Kamsa and all the wrestlers and the elephant, and just something I have to do first. So he went later. Also, of course, Akrura was very anxious that Krishna come to his home. The residents of Vrindavan also wanted, come home. His home in Vrindavan, but he had too many things to deal with, so he didn't go for a long time. V.V. Ramanujan, another commentator in the Sri Vaishnava Sampradaya, gives examples from the writings of the Alvars that he is extremely easy of access to those who approach him with devotion. So that's the trick. He's hard to attain by any other means. But by devotion, he's very keen to approach the devotees. We always used to hear Srila Prabhupada would say, if you make one step toward Krishna, Krishna will make 10 steps toward you. If we consider how patient Krishna is, accompanying the conditioned soul in birth after birth after birth in the heart of the conditioned soul, and the conditioned soul is just not interested in Krishna. That worse than having someone yell and scream at you is just to completely ignore you. If they yell and scream at you, at least they're taking cognizance of your existence. There's some kind of rasa. But to just completely ignore you, it's like impersonal Brahman or something like that. So just, we in conditioned souls in the material world, Krishna's there, but just no interest. Just as if he doesn't exist. And practically we don't know that we're so uninterested in his existence that for us, practically, he doesn't exist. And we find so many people all over the world, they never heard of Krishna. And in other species of life other than human, they don't know Krishna. But Krishna is very patient. And even after so many lifetimes of so many sinful activities, if someone just starts to turn to Krishna, Krishna doesn't say, you rascal, I'll send you to hell forever. But that happens, but Krishna, as soon as one turns toward Krishna, Krishna is immediately willing to reciprocate. He doesn't hold any grudge against those who have seriously mistreated him. Lifetime after lifetime after lifetime. We hear of often we hear of abusive behavior, but everyone in the material world is guilty of abusive behavior. We're all abusive behavior toward our best well-wisher. Someone is so much concerned with our benefit, and we're simply neglectful or spiteful or blasphemous. But Krishna, he is so kind that if after unlimited lifetimes of being horrible toward Krishna, if we just turn toward him, Krishna will immediately accept and just forgive and forget everything that we did before. Namalva, one of the great devotees prior to Ramanuja, there's an incident described where he's writing his poems describing the pastimes of Krishna. And at the point where he's describing how Krishna, who is more powerful than all the great demigods and demons and kings and warriors and conquerors, he's more powerful than all of them, he allows himself to be bound to the grinding mortar just to please Yashoda. And as is described, this Namalva, he was writing about and he just collapsed. He just lost consciousness for 6 months. He was overwhelmed with ecstasy. Again, from the Divya Prabandhams, number 26. We have important number, very important number. Why is it an important number? Number of elements. In Sankhya, if we go through, there are 25 elements in atheistic Sankhya. And in Vaishnav Sankhya, the 26 is Paramatma, Supersoul, Bhagavan. So if we just say 26, for whatever reason, that will be $26 or $25.99, 99 and 9/10 cents. $26. So 26. Just hearing this, he thinks, oh, they're thinking of me, because the 26 indicates him. So that's very auspicious. We know 108 as an auspicious number. In Islam, they have 786, right? Why is it? Any reason? Anyone happen to know? I don't know. Do you know?
It's the year he traveled from Mecca to Medina.
That's the year that Hazrat Muhammad, peace be upon him, traveled from Mecca to Medina. He was driven out of Mecca, and then he made his base in Medina, got his strength together and went back and conquered Mecca later. So that's a great year. The year 786 in their own calendar, I guess. Okay. So, that's an example of how he's so eager to get our attention, even if we're not thinking of him. Somehow or other, he almost pretends as if we're thinking of him. And he accepts. There's different religious traditions. They may be engaged in irreligious activities which are not pleasing to him, but the very fact that there's some approach to him, he reciprocates at some level. Yayata mang prapadyante tangs tathaiva bhajamyaham. I didn't have much appreciation of Christianity due to being raised in that tradition. Well, anyway, I was raised in the tradition and I didn't have much appreciation. But then when I spent some time trying to preach Krishna consciousness in Thailand, which is a hardcore Buddhist country. Theravada Buddhism, that's real original Buddhism, where there's no trace of anything like a personal God. So then I got some appreciation, at least in Christianity. There's a concept. We can say the word God and people have a general idea about what we're talking about. Just like here in Atlanta, if you stop anyone in the street or whatever, do you believe in God? Yes. And there's hardly anyone will say. You ever meet anyone who said no? Very rare, very rare. Yeah. What would happen if you tried that in New York? Yeah, they'd laugh at you, right? You're laughing, they'll just laugh at you. So there's something there. At least there's some but they don't even have a concept. They don't even have a word in their language. It's just like if you go to, say, Saudi Arabia, before the internet days, and I don't know if there's a word in Arabic for snow, I doubt it. But if you try to, you talk about snow, and then you try to explain to them, it falls from the sky and makes like a white carpet. Srila Prabhupada, when he saw snow for the first time in New York City, he thought the whole city had been whitewashed overnight. He didn't know what it was. So it's like that. It's like trying to explain the midday sun in India in the summer or Atlanta in the summer to an Eskimo. They don't have any concept of how it could be like that. So Krishna, he reciprocates. And he reciprocates with the hardcore Buddhists also. And they can't stop worshipping. Actually, the official religion in Thailand is Buddhism, but then the actual religion which most people engage in is ghost worship. In every house, in every shop, in every room, they have a little altar for ghosts, who they worship with foul-smelling incense and other things which the ghosts are supposed to like. So Krishna, he reciprocates, but those who fully surrender themselves to him, that's what he's really looking for. Then there's full reciprocation. He wants to love us. He does love us fully, but he's really looking for the full reciprocation. Here is an anecdote quoted from Ramayana. That was Sugriva. He surrendered to Ram. It wasn't selfless, but it was a bond between kshatriyas, that I'll help you and you help me. Sugriva wanted Ram to restore his kingdom, which would mean killing Sugriva's brother, Vali, and in return, Sugriva is supposed to help Rama find and retrieve his wife, Sita Devi. So, at that time, Lord Rama said to Sugriva, Tvai kinchit samapanne kim karyam sitaya mama bharatena mahabaho lakshmanena yaviyasa shatrugnena cha shatrugna svasharirena vapunaha. Ram said, that's a kshatriya vow. In the course of protecting you, Sugriva, if I have to die, I'm not going to back out. I'm going to do whatever I have to do. And even if then Sita, Lakshman, Bharat, Shatrughna, they're all left behind, that's not my business, because I've vowed. And even if I have to give my own life, I'll do whatever I have to do to protect you. It's being pointed out here that because those who surrender to him, he becomes very easily accessible to them. Shankaracharya, in commenting on this, he invokes, but he doesn't exactly state the famous verse from Bhagavad Gita about offering leaves and flowers, but he alludes to it. Shankara's commentary, Patra pushpadibi bhakti matra samarpitai sukhena labhyata iti sulabha. Sukhena labhyata. Easily and happily he has attained, even by offering leaves, flowers, fruits, simple things easily attained, with full devotion. Shankara quotes from Mahabharata, and it's not the Gita verse, but similar. Patreshu pushpeshu phaleshu toyeshu akrita labhyeshu sadaiva satsu bhaktyeka labhye purushe purane muktyeka tamna kriyate prayatnaha. That ancient Purusha, Supreme Personality of Godhead, is easily attainable by devotion alone, with the offer of leaves, flowers, fruits, and even water, which are attainable anywhere, pretty much. Of course, if you're living in the middle of a desert, it may not be so easy to attain, but otherwise leaves, flowers, fruits, water. Then the question comes up in Mahabharata, when he can be attained by devotion so easily, why is it that people do not take to this process and easily attain liberation, so easy to attain by the mercy of Krishna? We're suffering so much. And then Shankara, this is Shankara, we often find in his writings, he often says, why don't people try for mukti? His big thing is mukti, because he's presenting the impersonalist idea that the highest goal is moksha. But Shankara will often find his right. Why are people so foolish that they're wrapped up in this material world? Why don't they try for mukti? And of course, this is all based on the Bhagavad Gita verse, Patrang pushpang palam tayam yome bhaktya prayachati tadaham bhakti uparitam ashnami prayatatmanaha. If one offers me with love and devotion, a leaf, flower, fruit or water, I will accept it, Krishna says. And again the word bhaktya. And although Srila Prabhupada doesn't comment on that, we find in Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's commentary, he glosses the term prayatatmanaha as one who's sincerely endeavoring specifically by following the rules and regulations concerning worship. Now that's important consideration. Krishna himself in Bhagavad Gita declares that he is Sulabhah, easy to attain by a certain process. Ananya chaita satatam yomam smarati nityashaha tasyaham Sulabhah partha nitya yuktasya yoginaha. Srila Prabhupada's translation, for one who always remembers me. Joseph, you're going to put it on the... Is he here? I'd asked him to put that on the... It's up there now, okay. For one who always remembers me, without deviation, I am easy to obtain, O son of Pritha, because of his constant engagement in devotional service. Well, we may say, always remembering Krishna. Yeah, that's the thing we're trying for, but that seems to be so elusive. Interestingly, in the word-by-word synonyms, Srila Prabhupada here translates nityashaha as regularly and nitya as regularly. The word nitya can mean always, literally, and it can also mean regularly. As we hear, nashta prayeshva bhadreshu nityang bhagavata sevaya. That, and Srila Prabhupada translates this, for those who regularly attend classes in the Bhagavatam. So as a regular activity, if one organizes one's life in such a way that there is direct engagement in Krishna's service by hearing and chanting about and remembering facilities for remembering Krishna directly. It may be that it's a commonly asked question that when I'm in the morning program, we're chanting and we're hearing and we're feeling very Krishna conscious. As soon as we walk out the door, we forget everything and we start thinking about my car needs repairing and my pet dog needs to be taken to the vet and all this kind of thing that we may think about. But the idea is that by regularly hearing, then the practice will come that we'll always remember Krishna. Shortly after I was admitted to be allowed to join this movement, I asked a question of Mukunda Prabhu at the time. Later he took sannyas, Mukunda Goswami, who was residing at Bhaktivedanta Manor, where I joined. And I asked him, how is it possible to always remember Krishna? Because we're hearing again and again about always remembering Krishna. So I said, how is it possible? And he quoted an anecdote that he was with Srila Prabhupada once at an airport, and some woman in the staff had asked Prabhupada, what is this? What are you doing? And what's the aim? And Srila Prabhupada had said it's to always remember Krishna, to always remember God. And she said, well, how is it possible to always remember God? The same question. So Srila Prabhupada said that, well, it's just like when you're at work, you're at work and you're intent on what you're doing, but at the same time you're always conscious of your appearance, aren't you? That your hair is nice and your eyebrows. And you see that women, when they're at work, if they get 2 minutes, they open up, this is called stereotyping. I'll get shot by the woke crowd. They open up their bag, pull out their mirror, and dab something on their face and comb their hair. And so many times you go in the public toilet and there's someone, male toilet I'm sure it's the same in the female, they're combing their hair. It doesn't need combing, but they just some excuse to look at their hair and pat it and put it in shape. So people who are very bodily conscious are always conscious of their bodily appearance. It's always there in their consciousness. That's why as soon as they get a chance, any little break, they'll immediately say, oh, how is it? And if you make some comment, at least in this country, well, the culture may have changed. You don't do it in India. You don't say, oh, you're looking very nice. If you don't say that in India, you don't go walk up to some woman and say, look. But I don't know, the culture may have changed here, but it used to be that was, oh, thank you for the compliment. I feel, oh, very good. Very good. I feel very happy. Someone noticed how nice I look. So the point is that, yeah, and Krishna says that also, that Mamanusmara Yudhyacha. The first thing is to think of Krishna and fight. Now when you're fighting, you're not reciting Vishnu Sahasranama, generally speaking. It's not impossible, but it's more like, get out of here, you demon! Bah! Now you're killed! So it's intense mental engagement. If you're not fully focused on fighting, then you're dead. You have to be, the people all around you, the arrows could be shooting at you from any side. You have to be fully focused. But at the same time, Arjuna is always remembering Krishna, and we can say that, well, it's not hard for him to remember Krishna because the charioteer, the passenger on the chariot, or the chariot fighter and the chariot driver, they're intimately connected. The chariot, it has to be almost like a psychic bond. That's why generally the charioteer and the chariot driver is good if they have some experience with each other. Because it's just like if you're riding a horse, and then with a horse and the horse rider they get used to each other and they get to know each other's personalities, and the chariot driver has to just, there's an arrow coming and he has to swerve out of the way and sometimes Krishna would make the chariot go down so the arrow can shoot over the top. The chariot driver is not just a matter of right, left, but he has to be fully conscious of what he's doing. And so Arjuna is fully conscious of Krishna, but when he's fighting also. But the real trick is to be fully conscious of Krishna at all times. And actually, when we're in an intense situation, we probably all had this experience in devotional service. If we think, so much service, I better just go away and chant, and then I remember Krishna more. But often we find that when we're in an intense situation, just like if we're distributing books, or there's something we have to do quickly in Krishna's service, or some pressure, then even though it's not exactly the same as chanting our rounds or reading the Srimad Bhagavatam, but remembrance of Krishna becomes very strong. We're praying to Krishna in difficulty. That's why Kunti Devi prayed, Vibhada santu ta shashvat tatra tatra jagat garo bhavato darshanam yatsyat apuna bhava darshanam. Now you're going away, Krishna, and everything's nice, but everything's nice except we're not going to remember you the way we remembered you when we were in trouble, so better give us trouble. Because when we're in trouble, we remember you intensely. And then we see you, and if we see you, we don't see repeated birth and death. For one who always remembers me without deviation, I am easy to obtain, O son of Pritha, because of his constant engagement in devotional service. Purport, Srila Prabhupada's purport to this verse. This verse especially describes the final destination attained by the unalloyed devotees who serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead in Bhakti Yoga. Does it? It describes the final destination. Final destination means Vaikuntha, Goloka. That's not in the verse, is it? The final destination is always thinking of Krishna, wherever you may be. Jivane marane gati arnahimo, Radha Krishna pranamo. What Bhaktivinoda Thakur sings that Nija karma guna doshe jai jai janma pai janme janme jena tava nama guna gai. He's in his song paraphrasing the 4th verse of the Shikshashtaka. He says that whatever birth I may get according to my good and bad activities within this material world, I simply pray that I may have the opportunity or go on praising your name and qualities. So that is the final destination that Srila Prabhupada is speaking of here. Continuing reading the purport, previous verses have mentioned 4 different kinds of devotees: the distressed, the inquisitive, those who seek material gain, and the speculative philosophers. Different processes of liberation have also been described: Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, and Hatha Yoga. The principles of these yoga systems have some bhakti added, just as we were discussing yesterday about Arop Siddha Bhakti. They're doing bhakti but some other aim in mind. But this verse particularly mentions pure bhakti yoga without any mixture of jnana, karma or hatha. As indicated by the word ananya chetaha, in pure bhakti yoga, the devotee desires nothing but Krishna. A pure devotee, it's amazing. People read Bhagavad Gita and they get some impersonal idea out of it. It's really cheating themselves. As indicated by the word ananya chetaha, in pure bhakti yoga, the devotee desires nothing but Krishna. A pure devotee does not desire promotion to heavenly planets, nor does he seek oneness with the Brahmajyoti or salvation or liberation from material entanglement. A pure devotee does not desire anything. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, the pure devotee is called Nishkam, Krishna Bhakta Nishkam Ataiv Shanta, which means he has no desire for self-interest. Perfect peace belongs to him alone, not to them who strive for personal gain. Bhukti Mukti Siddhi Kami Shakali Ashanta. Whereas a Jnana Yogi, Karma Yogi or Hatha Yogi has his own selfish interests, A perfect devotee has no desire other than to please the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore the Lord says that for anyone who is unflinchingly devoted to Him, He is easy to attain. A pure devotee always engages in devotional service to Krishna in one of His various personal features. Krishna has various plenary expansions and incarnations such as Rama and Nrsimha, and a devotee can choose to fix his mind in loving service to any of these transcendental forms of the Supreme Lord. Such a devotee meets with none of these problems that plague the practitioners of other yogas. So this is easy to obtain. Krishna is easy to obtain. Now this is describing how he's easy to attain in comparison with karma yogis, karmis, gyanis, yogis, and karma yogis, jnana yogis, and hatha yogis. So it's another perspective on why Krishna is easy to attain. The problem is in the other process, you don't really want to attain Krishna anyway. It's like calling Krishna, could you do something for me? And then, okay, thank you very much. You don't really want, you want to get him for what you can get out of him. But you don't really want to get him. So he doesn't even care to help others so much as he cares to help the devotee who wants to attain him. Bhakti yoga is very simple and pure and easy to perform. That's another way. Because in other systems, in karma kanda, you have to chant all your mantras. First of all, you have to find a pure brahmana. Very difficult to find. Even if he's pure in his character, he has to be able to chant all the mantras properly. It's impossible, practically, in the modern age. In Jnana Yoga, you have to go through all these mental somersaults and try to understand how everything's one when it obviously isn't. And Hatha Yoga, you have to control your breath and put your legs up behind your neck and all kinds of difficult things like that. But devotees just chant Hare Krishna. That's all. Bhakti Yoga is very simple and pure and easy to perform. One can begin simply by chanting Hare Krishna. The Lord is merciful to all, but as we have already explained, He is especially inclined toward those who always serve Him without deviation. The Lord helps such devotees in various ways, as stated in the Vedas, Katha Upanishad 1.2.23. Yam evaisha vernute tena labhyas. Again, labhya, that word comes. Yam evaisha vernute tena labhyas tasyaisha atma vivrinnute tanung svam. One who is fully surrendered and engaged in the devotional service of the Supreme Lord can understand the Supreme Lord as He is. And as is stated in Bhagavad Gita 10.10, Dadami buddhi yogam tam. The Lord gives such a devotee sufficient intelligence so that ultimately the devotee can attain Him in his spiritual kingdom. The special qualification of the pure devotee is that he is always thinking of Krishna without deviation and without considering the time or place. There should be no impediments. He should be able to carry out his service anywhere and at any time. Some say that the devotee should remain in holy places like Vrindavan or some holy town where the Lord lived, but a pure devotee can live anywhere and create the atmosphere of Vrindavan by his devotional service. Any experience of that here? Feeling anything like that? This Mangalarti and Tulsi Arti and Nrsimha this morning was exceptionally blissful. I thought. It's blissful every morning, but I think everyone experienced that, right? There's a lot of mercy coming through. Thanks to all the great devotees who've between them performed centuries of devotional service for coming together. Yeah, if we take all these devotees, 40 years, 50 years, it comes to a few centuries, right? So there's a lot of mercy coming through. Vrindavan. So no need to go to Vrindavan. Is that right? What do you think? Well, you came from India to here, so you don't think you have to. Right? Sometimes I meet in the West. Oh, I'm from India. Where are you from? I'm from Mathura. What are you doing here? Earning money. As indicated by the words satatam and nityashaha, which mean always, regularly, or every day, a pure devotee constantly remembers Krishna and meditates upon him. These are qualifications of the pure devotee for whom the Lord is most easily attainable. You see, throughout the purport, Srila Prabhupada is explaining this point of how Krishna is Sulabhah, easy to attain. Bhakti Yoga is the system that the Gita recommends above all others. Generally, the Bhakti Yogis are engaged in 5 different ways. 1. Shanta Bhakta, engaged in devotional service in neutrality. 2. Dasya Bhakta, engaged in devotional service as servant. 3. Sakhya Bhakta, engaged as a friend. 4. Vatsalya Bhakta, engaged as parent. And 5. Madhurya Bhakta, engaged as conjugal lover of the Supreme Lord. In any of these ways, the pure devotee is always constantly engaged in the transcendental loving service of the Supreme Lord and cannot forget the Supreme Lord, and so for him the Lord is easily attained. A pure devotee cannot forget the Supreme Lord for a moment. As we know, the gopis at one point they came together and said, this Krishna gives us so much trouble, so much headache, let's just stop talking about Krishna. And they tried it and they couldn't. Let's just forget Krishna, but it's not possible for them. They got the Krishna addiction. And Srila Prabhupada concludes this purport by saying, this is the great blessing of the Krishna conscious process of chanting the Maha Mantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So that is the process. That is the promise of this process, that if we seriously practice this chanting, we can come to the stage where we cannot forget Krishna even for a moment. And that's a special blessing in this Kali Yuga. Krishna is especially easily attainable in this Kali Yuga by the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, by chanting the holy names of the Lord. This evening we're scheduled to go out in public at Lord Chaitanya's process, chanting the holy names, going to some music festival. There's so many different kinds of music will be there, and we'll bring Krishna's music, and no doubt so many people will appreciate, and even just by appreciating, even they have some vague idea it's something religious, or they know what it's all about, but so they appreciate. Just by that appreciation, even though they don't know what it is, why it is, but they like it. At some platform in their consciousness, it appeals to them and they like it. And by doing that, Krishna gives so much mercy to them that you couldn't get even by standing on the tip of your toes and trying to meditate on the impersonal Brahman. Do that for 10,000 years, or you can be some drunkard in downtown Atlanta and just as you get more benefit. That is the mercy of Lord Chaitanya. That's stated in Chaitanya Bhagavat. There was Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was performing a Sankirtan, and some drunkards, as we see up to the present day, they're holding their wine. And it stated that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was very merciful to them, and they got more mercy than the Mayavadis. The Mayavadis who are living at Varanasi on the bank of the Ganga and performing austerities and reciting the Vedas. But just these drunkards in the lowest condition of life had some appreciation of Lord Chaitanya and the holy names through the layers of their contaminated consciousness. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave them more mercy. So much mercy goes out by chanting the holy names. And what to speak of Aho Batas Vapacha Togren Yajjivagre Vartate Narmatubhyam. What to speak of those whose on their tongue is always the holy name, even if they're born in the family of dog eaters. Tapas tapas te juhavu sasnaraya brahmanucha namagrinanti yete. That you don't have to study all the Vedas and go to all the holy places and perform all the austerities in the Vedas and follow all the rituals. Someone who's chanting the holy name regularly, constantly, it's understood they've surpassed and gone past all that. What a great opportunity it is. It's good to think about it from time to time. What a great opportunity it is to take to Krishna consciousness. So let's do it. Let's go for it. Now is the chance. Kali Yuga in which Lord Chaitanya comes doesn't come very often. To get the chance of a human birth at this time and to get the opportunity to engage in devotional service, we should do it. So all of you who are not chanting 16 rounds every day, and most of you are, but there may be some who are newly coming or used to do it but don't do it anymore, just do it. Just knock your brain into shape and chant. At least do this much. Everyone should chant minimum 16 rounds daily. Follow the 4 regulated principles. I say, I've got this to do, I've got that to do, and I don't feel like it. Krishna gives himself by simply asking us to chant his holy name. That's all. That's all. So let's do it. He's easily accessible. You don't need to bring... How many diamonds do you need to purchase Krishna? How rich do you have to be? What do you have to offer? Or what austerities do you have to perform? You have to do regular fasts, 5 days with nothing but a glass of water every morning. You don't have to do anything like that. And in fact, Krishna's not even particularly pleased with that at all, but you just have to chant the holy names. You can offer him some leaves, some flowers. Sometimes you go to, can I take a flower to offer it? Yeah, sure. Or sometimes we just take it and don't tell them. You're not supposed to do that. They get what benefit they get, and if take flowers, you offer. What benefit people get? Offering something to Krishna. Flowers grow in this part of the world. It's a warm climate. What is it? Subtropical, getting a bit above that. Huh? So this kind of climate, things grow. Just even if you don't plant things, things will just grow, and there's rain. There's good. Didn't get much rain recently, but things just grow automatically, and you just pick them and offer it to Krishna, and he's pleased. The example, common example given that how to please Krishna. Sudama Vipra brought his wife had in the house some really coarse rice that you pound it, puffed rice or pounded rice. Srila Prabhupada called it chipped rice. Yeah, that would be chura in Bang. What do they call that? Poa in Hindi. Yeah. So that's a poor man's food. You don't give that to a king, although he may enjoy it, but it's considered not suitable. But it was offered, and Krishna was very pleased with it. So many, because he's Dwarkadish, so many great kings would come and make big offerings to him. But he was very pleased with the offering of Sudama because of the devotion. So, why don't we do it? What is standing between us and pure devotion? It's just our unwillingness. So that's due to bad habit over many lifetimes. So we cultivate, therefore sadhana is needed to cultivate that. Cultivation, anushilanam, Krishna anushilanam. Anushilanam means practice, cultivation of Krishna consciousness. So that we come to the stage where we become completely attached to Krishna. And definitely Krishna, he'll be very pleased to give himself fully to us. But even if we just make a beginning, Krishna, he's immediately ready to help us in all respects. Brahmanda Brahmite Kono Bhagavan Jeev Guru Krishna Prasade Pai Bhakti Lata Bij. By the mercy of Krishna, we get a Guru. By the mercy of Guru, we get Krishna. If Krishna sees someone is sincere and eager to approach him, he makes all arrangement. Here, someone will teach you. He'll take you through all the steps. People don't know. Lokasya janata vidvangs chakri satvata sanghitam. Anartho pashamang sakshad bhakti yoga madhoksache. People don't know that by this simple process of linking with Krishna, they can get free from all troubles. People don't know. So therefore Vyasadeva, he compiled the Srimad Bhagavatam. People don't know. They're suffering so much. So this giving out these books, it's bhakti yoga. It means linking people with bhakti. It's another meaning of bhakti yoga is linking people with bhakti by giving them the book by which they can understand how they should be passing their life. Durlabha is the antonym of Sulabha. That's also a name for the Supreme Lord. Is that not contradictory to say that he is hard to attain and easy to attain? This subject is discussed by Lord Shiva in his prayers to Lord Vishnu, which we'll find in the last chapter of the 4th canto of Bhagavatam. Bhavan bhaktimata labhyo durlabha sarvadehinam svarajyasyapyabhimata ekantenatma vidgatihi. So durlabha sarvadehinam. He's hard to get for pretty much every embodied being, conditioned soul. But bhaktimata labhya, he is attained by bhakti. Translation for this verse. My dear Lord, the king in charge of the heavenly kingdom is also desirous of obtaining the ultimate goal of life, devotional service. Similarly, you are the ultimate destination of those who identify themselves with you. Aham Brahmasmi. Those who say Aham Brahmasmi, thinking I am the Supreme. Actually, Krishna is the Supreme. So in a roundabout way, he's the ultimate destination for them. However, Lord Shiva says, it is very difficult for them who meditate on the impersonal Brahman to attain you, whereas a devotee can very easily attain your lordship. Purport, as stated in Brahma Samhita, Vedeshu durlabham adurlabham atma bhaktau. This indicates that it's very difficult for one to attain the ultimate goal of life and reach the supreme destination, Vaikuntha Loka or Golok Vrindavan, simply by studying the Vedanta philosophy or Vedic literature. It's very hard. The Vedesha sarvera hameva vedyaha. Krishna says, by all the Vedas am I to be known, but if we only study the Vedas, it's difficult to attain Krishna if we don't come to that point of understanding that we're supposed to be worshipping Krishna. However, this purport continues, however, this highest perfectional stage can be attained by the devotees very easily. That is the meaning of Vedeshu durlabham adurlabham atma bhaktau. The same point is confirmed by Lord Shiva in this verse. The Lord is very difficult to attain, very difficult for the karma yogis, jnana yogis and dhyana yogis to attain. Those who are bhakti yogis, however, have no difficulty at all. Sulabha, easy to get. And another angle we can understand this from, that what appears to be difficult, unattainable, impossible to attain, becomes easy to attain by the mercy of the Supreme Lord. Mukam karoti vachalang pangung langhayate girim yat kripa tamahang vande paramananda madhavam. That's the original form of that verse from Shankaracharya also. That someone who's dumb can recite poetry, a lame man can cross over mountains by the mercy of He to whom we offer our prayers, who is Paramananda Madhava. Madhava, Krishna who's full of bliss. A similar verse is there at the beginning of the Antilila of Chaitanya Charitamrita. Pangung langhayate shailam mukam arvatayet chutim yat kripa tamaham vande Krishna Chaitanyam Ishvaram. So the same point is made, that a layman can cross a hill, a dumb man can recite the Vedas. By the mercy of He to whom we offer our respects, Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Also from Chaitanya Charitamrita, Katanchana smrite yasmin dushkaram sukaram bhavet vismrite viparitang syat Sri Chaitanyam namami aham. Things that are very difficult to do become easy to execute if one somehow or other remembers Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But if one does not remember him, even easy things become very difficult. To this Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, I offer my respectful obeisances. Yeah, so that's pertinent to the discussion we were having yesterday. How can you preach Krishna consciousness in the West? So difficult. The answer is you can't. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu can. So if we do what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wants us to do, and become his instruments, then he can do. We can't do anything. But he can. Then another meaning, if we take Sulabh means easy to attain. If we take Su to mean easy, but also we can take Su to mean Sukha. So, the means to attain happiness. Sulabha means the means to attain happiness. Whatever, there are different kinds of happiness. There's the happiness of the worm in stool, the happiness of the person who's passing stool. What a relief. There are various grades of happiness. The happiness of Indra in the heavenly planets, the happiness of impersonal Brahman, but real happiness means happiness in Krishna consciousness. So all kinds of happiness he bestows. But especially the real meaning of happiness is happiness in devotional service. And anything else which goes by the name of happiness is hiding in unnatural happiness. Do you distribute that book? Yeah, I just read it. After all these years, I never got a copy before. One name from Chaitanya Charitamrita, Shuddha Prema Sukha Sindhu. Krishna is the ocean of happiness, of pure devotion. Baladev Vidyabhushan, our Gauriya commentator on Vishnu Sahasranama, gives a completely different meaning to any of these meanings that others have given. That easily Sulabha he was got by Shrutadev and Bahulashva, when they were staying at their own houses in Mithila and Krishna was in Dwaraka. So they didn't go anywhere, they just stayed in their house and Krishna came to them. So he was very easily attained. They very easily met him by he came to them. Another meaning altogether, Sureshu Bhati iti Sulabha. He's called Sulabha because he shines among the demigods. Devata, Divya. The word Divya literally means shining. So he's the brightest among all the demigods. He shines among the demigods. Hare Krishna, Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyavacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha dante nitaya churnakang padayo nipatya kritvaja kakushatameta bravimi hey sadhava sakala eva vihaya durad gauranga chandra charne kuruta
His Holiness Bhakti Vikasa Swami
parivadatu